Hello, my name is Louise, and today I'm here with Ernest Antoine, who for the last 10 years has helped organisations to work successfully in Asia. And we're here to talk about the challenges that organisations have when they try to open up businesses in Asia. So Ernest, what is the best way to look after managers and staff when they return back home from a posting like somewhere in China or India?
Mm-hmm. People coming back from overseas, organizations must see them as a resource. Often, organizations don't have the time, and worst of all, they think they're a bit of a mismatch to the organization. They try and fit them in as best as they can. And often, in one of the studies that I looked at, about 1 in 5 people returning actually leave the company. When they leave the company or leave the organization, they leave with them with the networks, with the skills, with the knowledge, and everything that you need in order to be able to do your business successfully in India or China. And not only they just leave, they actually go to another company. And usually they're the competitors. So what we want to do is you want to treat them as a very valuable resource when they come back and help them to reintegrate back into the company and utilize what they've learned.
Because what is it that the expat would be feeling when they return home?
Okay, they actually feel, many people look forward to coming home because they think they're coming back to a familiar environment, familiar friends, and so on and so on. In fact, what they forget and what everybody else forget is that they have moved in a particular direction for the last 3 years. They moved in one direction, whereas the rest of the world has moved in a different direction. Often they go to a dinner party, and then there's the first 5 minutes the party is interested in what you have done overseas in China or India. And then after the first 5 or 10 minutes, they moved on to a conversation, something else that cannot relate to.
So they feel quite isolated.
They do feel isolated. So in order to bring them back and help them reintegrate, because they are an important resource for the company, there are a number of things you can do. Schedule an interview with them, what we call a debriefing interview. Schedule an interview with them. Sit down, talk to them about their particular experiences, their peak experiences, and some of the struggles they had. Let them talk about that. Let them talk about how they felt about those experiences, and talk about what did they learn from those experiences. So that's really a key interview. You cannot force it on people, but you certainly strongly recommend to people to it. And some people don't take it up, but a lot of people will. If you can include families, that's even better still. Because family, they're all coming back to the country. They all have to adapt. And if you're looking after their family, that is a big bonus in the eyes of your staff member or your manager. They said, well, here's an organization that cares about me and cares about my family. So really, that's an important consideration. So once you've done that, you've gathered and documented what they've learned, and then what you want to do is, with their permission, of course, and make sure that the rest of the company gets that. So that's the first debrief interview. The second debrief interview second debrief interview is now you're mapping for the future. Okay, so all right, you're here, we've had a bit of a chat, what do you want to do next? So don't just leave them at a loose end, but try and link them into, map out their career path. Map out what they're going to do with life plans. Work out, help them if you can, with family to settle into schools and so on and so on. So those 3 things, mapping the future, would help them to settle better into your organization. And not only that, they would be so willing to contribute to the organization to be successful back in India and China. So they are an important resource, and we've got to look after them.
So what are the statistics on expats who come back home and try and rehabilitate into an organisation and end up leaving the company?
Yes. As I said, the statistics is about 25% actually leave the company. And that's one statistic. And of course, there's a lot of anecdotal examples, a lot of examples of people actually leave the company. There's somebody I know who works for a very large government department in Canberra, spent a number of years in Africa, and came back. And she was simply when she came back after 2 years, she was told that here's a table over there. So that's the table you were sitting before you left. You can go back there and do the work exactly where you left off. She lasted about 6 months. She left the government department, joined another government department, then left that, and then came down to work for another organization. And she carried with her the knowledge about Africa, the contacts and the networks that she had. Not only that, she also knew how to do business in Africa, which was now lost.
It's very valuable, I imagine.
And it's lost to the company.
So you spoke about the interview process. I imagine is that with the manager, or is that sort of something that the HR department would do?
Yes,
or?
It is. Well, every company is different. They structure that differently. I would probably look at the HR department taking responsibility for that.
And what else would the HR department do? How else would they be involved?
They would be involved in first of all, in the interview itself, helping them to debrief, helping them to plan. That's what they do. Then what they might do is also link them to key parts of the organization. And that's why the HR department, though, the human capital department, is so important, because they've got links to the whole organization. They know how valuable this particular person's experience would be to whoever it is in the organization. So I think HR should be probably play a key role in that. The manager for that person might be part of that as well. So it might be a whole host of people involved in it. But I think the HR people should be the people who should coordinate all of that. Do the interviews maybe, but certainly coordinate all of that. That kind of debriefing, but also disseminating the knowledge that this person brings.
Ernest, thank you so much for coming in today. We've learnt a wealth of knowledge in regards to working in Asia that I'm sure a lot of organisations will find extremely beneficial. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.